The first phase required detailed 3D mapping of every inch of the wreck's structure. The bow section, though damaged, remained the most intact portion of the ship, still recognizable as the Titanic of legend. The ship had become an underwater museum, slowly dissolving into the ocean that claimed her.
With documentation complete, the engineering team finalized the audacious plan. For 112 years, she lay hidden 12,500 feet below the surface.
In 1985, explorer Robert Ballard discovered the wreck site, but raising her was deemed impossible by every expert.
Iron-eating bacteria created haunting rust formations called rusticles, consuming the ship at a rate of 600 pounds per day. The debris field stretched for miles, each artifact a frozen moment from that tragic night. But today, cutting-edge technology and unprecedented ambition will attempt what was once thought impossible.
A multinational team of engineers, marine archaeologists, and restoration experts have assembled with one audacious goal:
using revolutionary lifting technology and preservation techniques developed specifically for this mission.
Advanced LiDAR scanning created a precise digital twin, identifying structural weaknesses and planning lifting points.
Every rivet, every plate, every structural element was documented and analyzed.
Computer simulations tested thousands of scenarios, calculating the precise forces needed to lift 46,000 tons without collapse. After 3 years of preparation, the impossible restoration was ready to begin.
The bow section, though damaged, remained the most intact portion of the ship, still recognizable as the Titanic of legend. The forward mast had collapsed decades ago, now serving as habitat for unique deep-sea ecosystems. The bridge telegraph, frozen at full astern, forever recorded the crew's desperate final orders. The promenade deck's windows, once showcasing Atlantic views to first-class passengers, now framed only darkness.
The legendary Grand Staircase, once Titanic's crown jewel, had completely dissolved, leaving only a haunting void.
But deep in the engine rooms, the massive reciprocating engines remained largely intact, silent giants waiting for resurrection.
29 coal-fired boilers, each weighing 100 tons, lay scattered across the debris field.
The three massive propellers, bronze giants that once drove the ship at 23 knots, remained attached to the stern section.
The stern section suffered catastrophic damage during the sinking, imploding as it descended and hitting the seafloor at 35 miles per hour. The impact had separated hull plates, but engineers identified which sections could be stabilized for lifting. Over a century, the wreck had become home to species found nowhere else on Earth, a delicate ecosystem that would need careful relocation.
Metallurgical samples revealed the steel's composition and helped engineers design custom preservation treatments.
The iron-eating bacteria that had consumed the ship for decades would need to be neutralized before restoration could begin.
With documentation complete, the engineering team finalized the audacious plan.
A specially designed lift vessel, the largest ever constructed, arrived carrying revolutionary lifting technology.
The lifting system used syntactic foam modules, buoyant materials that maintain integrity at extreme depths.
ROVs worked for 6 months, installing 500 titanium anchor points across the ship's structural frames.
Ultra-high-strength carbon fiber straps, each capable of supporting 1,000 tons, were threaded beneath the hull.
Hydraulic jacking systems positioned on the seafloor would provide initial lift, breaking the ship free from a century of sedimentation.
Precision water jetting cleared decades of accumulated sediment without damaging the fragile structure. Critical structural points received underwater reinforcement welding to prevent collapse during ascent.
200 foam modules, generating 50,000 tons of buoyancy, were attached in a precisely calculated pattern.
Miles of specially designed lift cables connected the modules to the structural anchor points.
Every cable had real-time tension monitoring, allowing engineers to distribute forces evenly across the structure.
After 18 months of preparation, every system was tested, calibrated, and ready for the unprecedented lift.
The lift required a 72-hour window of perfect calm. No storms, minimal currents, ideal conditions.
Engineers from 15 nations, representing the pinnacle of maritime engineering, prepared for the moment of truth.
At 0600 hours on July 15, 2024, exactly 112 years after her sinking,
The foam modules activated in synchronized sequence, generating lift force equivalent to 1,200 elephants.
After 112 years embedded in the seafloor, Titanic's hull broke free, rising for the first time since 1912. A massive sediment plume erupted, temporarily obscuring the wreck as she began her ascent.
Computer systems continuously adjusted tension across 500 cables, preventing catastrophic structural failure.
The bow section rose first, her iconic prow once again pointing skyward, as she had during her maiden voyage.
Ascent rate was held at a glacial 3 feet per minute. Any faster risked structural collapse.
Pressure equalization systems prevented the ship's sealed compartments from imploding as external pressure decreased.
At the halfway point, 6,000 feet deep, engineers paused the lift to inspect every structural point for stress fractures. At 200 feet, sunlight reached the ship for the first time in over a century, illuminating her rust-streaked hull. As she approached the surface, the world held its breath. Would the fragile structure survive the final moments? At 14:47 hours, Titanic's bow broke the surface, witnessed by millions watching live around the globe. Thousands of tons of water drained from her decks and compartments, her true form emerging from the sea. For the first time since April 15, 1912, RMS Titanic floated once again on the Atlantic Ocean.
With the ship at surface, specialized crews immediately attached stabilizing pontoons to prevent rolling in ocean swells.
Marine engineers performed immediate inspection, documenting every crack, every weakness that survived the ascent. Centuries of rust and marine growth began falling away, revealing glimpses of the black hull paint beneath. A fleet of 12 ocean-going tugs prepared for the 500-mile journey to the world's largest dry dock facility.
Specially designed tow cables, each as thick as a telephone pole, connected the ship to the tug fleet.
At dawn on July 18th, Titanic began her final voyage, not to New York as originally intended, but to Resurrection.
The journey took 10 days, maintaining a careful 3-knot speed to prevent structural stress.
Weather systems were carefully monitored and avoided. One storm could destroy the fragile hull.
Through day and night, the convoy pressed forward, a spectacle witnessed by ships and aircraft from around the world.
Titanic 8 and 28, sighted at the specially constructed.
Laser-guided positioning systems aligned the hull within inches of custom-designed support structures.
With Titanic secured inside, the dry dock gates closed, sealing her away from the ocean that had claimed her.
20 million gallons of water were pumped out over 48 hours, slowly revealing the ship's complete form.
Standing in the drained dry dock, Titanic's full majesty and tragedy were revealed. Battered, rusted, but unbroken. A scaffolding city was constructed around the hull, giving restorers access to every square inch of surface.
Metallurgists assessed rust penetration. In some areas, the original steel plates had thinned by 40%.
Ultra-high-pressure water blasting removed surface contamination without damaging the underlying steel structure.
Centuries of ocean accumulation fell away, revealing the original riveted steel plates beneath.
But for delicate areas, laser ablation removed rust at the molecular level without harming the base metal. Rust-neutralizing treatments converted remaining corrosion into stable compounds, halting further decay.
Every one of Titanic's 3 million rivets was individually inspected. The joints that failed during sinking received special attention.
12% of hull plates were too damaged to save, replaced with period-accurate steel forged using 1912 methods.
Modern welding was forbidden. Every repair used authentic riveted construction to maintain historical integrity.
The keel, Titanic's structural backbone, had survived remarkably intact, requiring only localized reinforcement.
The 3 bronze propellers, weighing 38 tons each, underwent careful restoration to preserve their original condition. The starboard anchor chain, each link weighing 175 pounds, was cleaned, tested, and certified for use.
A specialized coating system, designed to last 100 years, was applied to protect the restored steel from future corrosion.
After 8 months of intensive work, the hull transformation was complete, from oceanic decay to preserved majesty.
Structural engineers identified 200 critical points requiring reinforcement to restore Titanic's seaworthiness.
Deck beams that had collapsed or corroded were replaced with period-accurate structural members forged specifically for this restoration.
Where original riveting was impossible, modern welding, using period composition steel, ensured structural integrity.
The 15 watertight bulkheads, whose failure sealed Titanic's fate, were meticulously restored and reinforced. And the boiler rooms, heart of Titanic's power, required complete reconstruction. 29 boilers would steam once more.
Each boiler was disassembled, restored, and tested to modern safety standards while maintaining 1912 appearance.
The 4 iconic smokestacks, all lost over time, were reconstructed using original design blueprints and period photographs.
Each 62-foot funnel was lifted into place, restoring Titanic's distinctive 4-stack profile.
The teak wood decking, completely dissolved by the ocean, was replaced with sustainably sourced teak, following original patterns.
Every riveted seam underwent pressure testing to verify watertight integrity under operational conditions.
The reciprocating engines, silent for 112 years, were carefully restored, each component cleaned, tested, and rebuilt.
Engine components, some weighing 20 tons, required precision machining to restore proper tolerances.
Miles of new steam piping, fabricated to 1912 specifications, connected boilers to engines and auxiliary systems. Structural load testing verified the restored hull could withstand forces greater than those encountered during her original service.
Titanic's electrical system would be completely rebuilt, combining 1912 aesthetics with modern safety and reliability.
The 4 main generators that powered Titanic's 10,000 light bulbs were meticulously restored to working condition. The direct-drive turbine engine, an innovative 1912 design, required specialized metallurgical work to restore its revolutionary efficiency.
The steam-powered steering engine, which failed to prevent the iceberg collision, was completely overhauled and tested.
Titanic's revolutionary refrigeration systems, capable of preserving 75,000 pounds of meat, were restored using period-appropriate technology.
Hydraulic systems for cargo cranes, watertight doors, and passenger elevators required complete replacement with period design components.
The 8 deck cranes, used to load cargo and provisions, were restored to full functionality, matching original lifting capacities.
Communication systems, from engine telegraphs to pneumatic tube networks, were painstakingly restored to operational condition.
The forced air ventilation system, providing fresh air to 2,200 passengers and crew, required complete reconstruction.
The hydraulic watertight doors, whose closure came too late in 1912, underwent rigorous testing to ensure split-second operation.
Pump systems capable of moving 400 tons of water per hour were restored, far exceeding original 1912 capacity.
The galley equipment, capable of preparing 6,000 meals daily, was restored using authentic 1912 cooking technology.
The ship's laundry, processing a ton of linens daily, featured state-of-the-art 1912 equipment now returned to working order. After 14 months, all mechanical systems were integrated and tested together. Titanic's heart would beat once more.
The legendary Grand Staircase, completely destroyed by the ocean, would be rebuilt using original photographs and surviving blueprints.
Master craftsmen from around the world hand-carved each oak panel, matching the intricate designs from period photographs.
The iconic glass dome, crafted by artisans using period techniques, would once again illuminate the staircase with natural light.
The 416 first-class cabins were restored to their 1912 opulence, from hand-carved woodwork to authentic period furnishings.
The first-class dining saloon, capable of seating 554 guests, was restored to its original Jacobean-style grandeur.
Each of the dining saloon's chandeliers required 2,000 individual crystals, cut and installed using traditional methods.
The reception room, featuring the ship's only working fireplace, was recreated down to the hand-painted ceiling medallions. The smoking room's Norman Brereton stained glass windows were painstakingly recreated by specialist artisans in England.
The reading and writing room, designed exclusively for first-class ladies, featured delicate white enameled woodwork now faithfully reproduced.
The Café Parisien, Titanic's most modern space, was restored with its signature trellised walls and wicker furniture.
The Turkish baths, featuring intricate tilework and heated marble slabs, required specialized artisans.
The swimming pool, one of the first aboard any ship, was restored with its original heating and filtration systems.
The gymnasium's unique equipment, including the mechanical horse and electric camel, were faithfully reproduced from original manufacturer specifications.
Third-class spaces received equal restoration attention, their simple dignity restored to honor all who sailed aboard Titanic.
On March 1, 2025, electrical power flowed through Titanic circuits for the first time since 1912.
10,000 lights illuminated simultaneously, transforming the dark hull into a beacon of resurrection.
Steam pressure built in the boilers, and for the first time in over a century, Titanic's mighty engines turned.
The three propellers rotated smoothly, their bronze blades once again ready to drive the great ship forward. When Titanic's deep whistle sounded across the harbor, witnesses reported chills as history echoed across time.
The hull received its final coats of paint, glossy black with red anti-fouling bottom, exactly as she appeared in April 1912.
The White Star Line flag, absent from the seas since 1934, was raised once more on her restored stern.
On April 10, 2025, exactly 113 years after her maiden voyage began, the dry dock was flooded.
As water lifted her from the support blocks, Titanic floated once more, no longer a wreck, but a ship reborn. Escorted by tugs and accompanied by hundreds of vessels, Titanic made her way to open water for sea trials.
Under her own power for the first time in 113 years, Titanic's engines pushed her through Atlantic waters once more.
Speed trials confirmed her engines could still achieve 23 knots, exactly matching her 1912 service speed.
That evening, Titanic sailed, illuminated under the same stars that witnessed her tragedy. Resurrected from impossible depths, restored beyond belief.